The goals you choose define the life you live. Choose weak goals, live an average life. Choose strong goals, and everything changes, including you. If you want 2025 to be a year of progress, clarity, and real results, it starts with setting the right goals, not random ideas, not short-term hype, but real personal goals that push you to grow. That's what this guide is all about. This isn't about chasing trends. This is about building a strong foundation for your life, from your mindset, habits, discipline, to how you treat your time and energy. You're going to hear 10 powerful goals to set for yourself in 2025. Each one is clear, practical, and focused on helping you become sharper, stronger, and more in control of your life. You don't need more motivation, you need direction. You'll find it here. Pick the right goals and let the rest of the year follow your lead. Number 1, delete every number that brings you backward emotionally. You know, life gets noisy, and a big part of that noise is coming from the people you keep in your phone. You might not notice it, but the numbers in your contact list, they carry weight. They hold memories. They hold energy. Some of those names make you feel proud, focused, supported. But others, when they pop up on your screen, they drain something out of you. You feel it in your stomach. You feel that pull, that pressure, that emotional weight that takes you away from who you're trying to become. You've got goals for 2025, I assume. Maybe you want to be more disciplined. Maybe you want to earn more. Maybe you want to heal. Maybe you just want peace. But if you want peace, clarity, and progress, you can't carry emotional clutter in your pocket. So here's your first goal for 2025. Delete every number that brings you backward emotionally. I'm not saying this lightly. I'm saying this as someone who's watched people stay stuck for years because they kept too many doors open. And most of those doors were people they had no business talking to anymore. If you're serious about growth, you need to cut emotional access from people who no longer belong in your life. Growth is personal, and sometimes it's private. Think about it. What happens every time that name shows up? That one contact you haven't blocked yet? You feel a shift inside, a tension, a flashback. You lose focus. Maybe they don't say much. Maybe they only reach out when they need something. Or worse, maybe they bring up the past. They remind you of who you used to be. And every time they show up, even for a second, they drag you back into a mindset you've been trying to escape. That's not small. That's not harmless. That's powerful. It's emotional friction. It's psychological baggage, and it slows you down. If you want 2025 to look different, you have to start protecting your emotional space like your life depends on it, because it does. Energy is a limited resource. You only get so much attention in a day, so much clarity, so much peace. And if you're wasting that peace entertaining the wrong people, how can you expect to stay focused on the right things? You see, you don't just delete numbers to cut ties. You delete numbers to send a message to yourself. You're saying, I choose me now. You're saying, I don't owe anyone continued access to my mind if they didn't respect it when they had it. And more importantly, I'm not afraid to be alone if being around them costs me my strength. That's what this goal is really about. Strength, ownership, growing up emotionally. Most people don't do that. Most people are afraid to feel alone, so they keep people around who make them feel small. They keep fake friends, fake connections, fake peace, and it adds up. It starts to define them. You don't need drama in 2025. You don't need arguments, tension, or confusion. You need momentum. You need a clear head, and that only comes from cleaning out your emotional contacts. Ask yourself this: does this number push me forward or pull me back? If the answer isn't forward, the choice is clear. You're not being cold. You're being honest. You're protecting the person you're trying to become. You're defending your peace. And that's not selfish. That's smart. That's strong. That's the kind of move a leader makes. Someone who values their future more than old comfort. Now I know it's not easy. It takes a lot to press delete on a name that's been with you for years. But if that name is tied to pain, confusion, or emotional weight, what are you really holding on to? A version of yourself that no longer exists? A chapter that should have ended a long time ago. You're allowed to grow past people. You're allowed to say, I'm not the same person anymore. You're allowed to walk away from conversations that don't build you. You're allowed to move forward without closure, without apologies, without explaining yourself. You owe it to your future to create space for better connections, not recycled ones that keep you emotionally stuck. And I'll tell you this, once you delete that number, something inside you shifts. There's silence, there's clarity. It feels uncomfortable at first, but that's where your growth starts. You get back all the energy you used to spend managing that relationship. You get back all the space in your mind that used to worry, overthink, or doubt yourself. You start choosing different, and when you start choosing different, life starts treating you differently. Your peace is your responsibility. You don't get stronger by holding on to everything. You get stronger by knowing what needs to go. And some of the biggest distractions in your life don't come from the outside. They come from your phone. They come from the quiet attachments you refuse to release. Make a list today. Go through every number, one by one. Ask yourself, how does this person make me feel? Do I trust them? Do they support my direction? Do they respect my time, my energy, my growth? And if the answer is no, hit delete. Don't hesitate. Don't explain. Just delete. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your life. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. You've got dreams. You've got work to do. And no one who's constantly interrupting your growth should have a place in your daily world. Look, 2025 is not going to be any different unless you are. And that starts with the things most people are too afraid to do, like ending connections that quietly damage them, like taking control of your peace instead of waiting for life to fix it, like cutting people off, not out of hate, but out of self-respect. You don't need to argue. You don't need to prove anything. Just be clear with yourself. If a number in your phone reminds you of who you're trying to forget, delete it. If a number leads you back into habits, thoughts, or emotions that drained you, delete it. If a number keeps you questioning your worth, delete it. Because you've got goals now. You've got something to fight for. You're building a future where you feel calm, confident, and clear-minded. And to live that kind of life, you can't afford to carry emotional leftovers from people who never took your growth seriously. It's not just about cleaning up your contacts. It's about drawing the line. It's about setting a new standard. It's about choosing the people in your life based on how they help you grow, not just how long you've known them. You're building something real, and real growth requires real boundaries. 2025 should not be the year you keep entertaining emotional distractions. It should be the year you become unavailable to anything that doesn't protect your energy, your time, and your focus. So make it simple. If they drain you, delete them. If they distract you, delete them. If they delay you, delete them. You've got one life, protect it. You don't need hundreds of contacts. You need a few people who want to see you win. Choose those people and remove the rest. That's how you build peace. That's how you stay focused. That's how you move forward. And most of all, that's how you take your power back. Number 2, fix your environment so it stops breaking your focus. Look around the space you live in. Look at your room, your desk, your kitchen, your closet, your car, even your digital space, your phone, your computer, your tabs. Be honest for a second. Does it reflect the kind of person who's serious about focus, about growth, about progress? Because here's a truth many avoid. Your environment is either pushing you forward or it's pulling you backward. It's not neutral. It's shaping you quietly every single day. When you try to stay focused and it feels impossible, it's not always because you're lazy or unmotivated. Many times it's your environment that's working against you. A loud space, a cluttered room, scattered notes, a messy desktop, toxic energy, background noise, and even the smell or lighting. These things aren't small. They affect your brain more than you realize. They break your concentration. They pull your mind into too many directions. And if you're constantly surrounded by things that interrupt your clarity, how can you expect to stay locked in on anything? You need to fix the space around you if you want your mind to work for you, not against you. You need to stop tolerating the kind of environment that confuses your thinking and lowers your energy. You cannot rise above your surroundings if your surroundings are built to keep you distracted. The most productive, focused people don't just rely on willpower. They build a setting that removes the temptations before they show up. They don't wait until they're tempted to scroll or waste time. They remove the triggers from their environment. They design their space like someone who's in control. You can't ask for mental discipline while allowing physical chaos. You walk into your room and the first thing you see is a bed left unmade, dirty clothes in the corner, fast food wrappers on the desk, and a TV remote right next to your phone. What's your brain gonna do? It's gonna look for comfort. It's gonna settle into laziness. It's gonna get pulled in 100 directions before you even begin. You haven't even started your day, and already your space has told your mind to be passive. Now imagine a clean room, a desk that's empty except for a notebook and a pen, a quiet corner with natural light, your phone far away. That's not just a peaceful picture. That's an advantage. That's a setup built for progress. And you don't need expensive furniture or a big house or fancy gear. You just need to be intentional. You need to decide that you're no longer going to let your surroundings lead you into bad patterns. You have goals for 2025? Good. Then your environment should match those goals. If you want more discipline, your space should remove comfort. If you want more focus, your space should remove noise. If you want more creativity, your space should remove clutter. Stop trying to outwork a chaotic setup. It will beat you every time. You need to do a full audit of your environment, not someday, today. Walk around your room. Ask yourself, what here is stealing my focus? What here is distracting me every single day without me realizing it? What here reminds me of the old version of me that I'm trying to move past. Because every object holds energy. A book you never finished, a pair of shoes you regret buying, a photo that brings up old pain. These things quietly speak to your mind. They stir thoughts you don't need. They restart feelings you've already moved on from. And you're trying to build a new life while living in an old setup. It doesn't work. This goes beyond physical space. Look at your digital world. Your phone is a battlefield. Every notification pulls at your brain. Every app competes for your time. You open your phone to check one thing and end up wasting 20 minutes on something that adds no value. And you do it over and over until your focus is gone for the whole day. Fix it. Remove the apps that don't serve your direction. Turn off every notification that doesn't deserve your attention. Stop keeping your phone within arm's reach while you work. You're not weak. You're just surrounded by temptations that are designed to beat your willpower. If your computer is full of messy folders, unorganized files, hundreds of tabs, clean it. Create systems. Label what matters. Put things where you can find them quickly. Don't allow your screen to look like your mind feels confused, scattered, overloaded. The more chaos you leave around you, the more overwhelmed you will feel inside. There's no shortcut here. You want better focus? Then give your brain fewer things to fight. People often say, I just can't focus. But what they really mean is, I've never built a life where focus is possible. They live in environments that reward distraction, that reward delay, that reward avoidance. And then they wonder why they can't stay disciplined. Fix your environment and your mind will follow. Start small if you need to. Clean your desk. Put your phone in another room. Clear off your desktop. Move things around so your space feels fresh. Light a candle. Open a window. Create a vibe that feels like discipline and growth. And don't just clean it once. Maintain it. Your environment needs to be managed daily, just like your mindset. Because here's the truth. A messy room leads to a messy routine. A cluttered space leads to cluttered thoughts. And every time you sit down to work in a space that overwhelms you, you give your power away. You lower your ability to execute. You increase the chances that you'll delay, avoid, or quit. And the worst part, you'll blame yourself, not realizing your environment was setting you up to fail. But when your environment is clean, clear, and intentional, you start to feel different. You walk into your space and you feel ready. You don't have to waste time getting in the mood or battling distractions. You just begin, and every day you repeat that feeling, that setup, that ritual, until it becomes your new normal. That's how you protect focus, not with motivation, but with a space that's built for it. You want to get serious in 2025? Then fix your environment so it stops breaking your focus. That's not a small goal, that's a foundational one. Because no matter how big your dreams are, they will fall apart in a space that doesn't support them. You need to walk into your room and feel inspired, not drained. You need to sit at your desk and feel ready, not scattered. You need to start your day with structure, not confusion. And all of that begins with the world around you. Build your space like someone who means it this time. Build it like someone who's tired of making excuses. Build it like someone who knows the smallest details make the biggest difference. This is your reminder. If your environment doesn't match your ambition will shrink. So raise your standards, raise your space, and raise your level of focus by removing everything that makes it harder to think, harder to move, and harder to grow. That's how real change begins, not just inside your mind, but all around you. Number 3, show up on time even when no one checks. You find out who you really are when no one's watching. That's when the truth shows up. And one of the clearest signs of self-respect is showing up on time, even when there's nobody checking on you, when there's no boss waiting, no clock-in system, no eyes watching the door, just you, your word, and your standard. Most people only show discipline when they know someone's watching. When they're afraid of being judged or criticized, they show up out of fear, not integrity. That's not real discipline, that's pressure, that's performance. But what about when there's no penalty? When no one's keeping track? When you could sleep in and no one would know? That's where personal power is built. That's where self-leadership kicks in. In 2025, one of the most powerful goals you can set for yourself is this: be the kind of person who shows up on time, not because you're forced to, but because you said you would, because you respect your own time, because you made a decision, because you're trying to build consistency, not a performance. That level of commitment changes your entire identity. When you keep promises to yourself, especially small ones like being on time, your confidence grows. You walk different. You talk different. You don't need validation from anyone because you're already proving to yourself that you're reliable. That's rare. Most people let themselves off the hook way too easily. They're always 5 minutes late to their own life, always behind on their own goals, always pushing things forward, saying it doesn't matter because no one's watching. But it does matter. It matters because every time you say you'll do something and don't, even if no one else notices, you notice. Your mind logs it. It adds it to the growing list of broken promises, and that builds doubt. You start to second-guess yourself. You stop trusting your own words. You start making plans with hesitation, because deep down, you're used to not following through. Now flip that. Imagine showing up on time to your own life every single day. Imagine saying you'll wake up at 6 and actually doing it. Saying you'll start your project at 10 and starting it. Saying you'll meet yourself at the gym by 8 and getting there with no excuses. Imagine how strong that makes you over time. How certain, how unshakable. That's how leaders are made. That's how real winners separate themselves. When you build this habit, showing up on time without anyone forcing you, you take control of your future. You stop depending on motivation or pressure. You start depending on personal values. That's maturity. That's internal strength. That's when things really shift. And make no mistake, this isn't about being perfect. This isn't about obsessing over the clock. This is about honoring what you said you'd do, even when it's inconvenient, even when you don't feel like it, especially when there's no reward waiting. Because if you only do things when there's a prize, you'll never be consistent. But if you do things because they reflect who you want to become, you'll build something that lasts. Think about it. If you can't trust yourself to show up on time for your own goals, how can you expect others to trust you with bigger responsibilities? Discipline builds trust, and trust opens doors. Opportunities don't come to the person who shows up late and makes excuses. They come to the one who's dependable, quietly dependable. Not flashy, not loud, just consistent, reliable, and grounded. You'll start to see it in the little things. You'll stop snoozing the alarm because you said you wouldn't. You'll stop telling yourself 5 more minutes because you already know how that story ends. You'll stop rushing to catch up with the clock because you've learned to stay ahead of it. You won't feel perfect every day, but you'll feel proud. And pride matters, not the fake kind that needs applause. The real kind. The kind you feel when you do the hard thing nobody else saw. The kind you feel when you finish something at the time you promised yourself. The kind you feel when you realize your habits are starting to match your dreams. Most people look for accountability outside of themselves. A friend to check on them, a partner to keep them going, a deadline to push them. But if you can become your own accountability, you'll never need pressure again. You'll wake up with clarity. You'll plan your days with intention. You'll move with certainty. Because you've trained yourself to keep your word, not just publicly, but privately. Start practicing this now. Don't wait for someone to give you permission. Set a time to do something and do it. Not 5 minutes late, not whenever, not after scrolling. On time, as planned. If you said you'd start reading by 9, then by 9 you start reading. If you said you'd go to the gym by 7, then by 7 you're walking in the door. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't wait until you feel like it. Just do it. It's a small action, but it rewires how you see yourself. It says, I do what I say. That's rare. That's powerful. That's magnetic. People will notice, even if they don't say anything. They'll feel it. They'll trust you more. They'll respect you more. But most importantly, you will respect you more. And that's the foundation for everything else you're trying to build. You can't fake consistency. You can't fake being on time. That's not something you can post about or dress up. It's either in your character or it isn't. And if it isn't yet, you build it. One decision at a time. One promise at a time. One early arrival at a time. Because at the end of the day, you know who's watching? You, your future self. The version of you who's tired of repeating the same cycles. The one who's ready to be taken seriously. The one who's not here to play small anymore. That version is watching every move, every choice, every delay, and every moment you choose to show up on time. You prove to that future version that you're ready for what's coming. There's no applause, no trophies, no spotlight. Just you and a clock. You and a decision. You and the challenge to be better than yesterday. If you want a stronger mind in 2025, if you want to feel proud of who you're becoming, if you want to separate yourself from the average, then show up on time even when no one checks. That's how you build real respect. That's how you earn your own trust. That's how you change your life from the inside out. Number 4, control your reactions instead of blaming your situation. Things will go wrong, people will disappoint you, plans will fall apart, life won't always go your way. That's guaranteed. But what's not guaranteed is how you choose to react to it. You may not control what happens to you, but you absolutely control how you respond. And if you don't learn how to manage your reactions, you'll spend your entire life blaming everything and everyone for why you're not where you want to be. The truth is, it's easier to point fingers than take responsibility. It's easier to say, I snapped because they pushed me, than to admit you lost control. It's easier to say, I failed because the situation was unfair, than to say, I didn't adjust fast enough. But if you keep blaming your situation, you hand over all your power. You give away control of your emotions, your energy, your growth to other people, to random events, to bad luck. You can't afford to do that anymore. Not if you're serious about building the kind of life you want. You need to be the kind of person who stays grounded even when things around you are messy. You need to be calm when the room is loud. You need to stay focused when things don't go your way. That's how real strength is built. People think strength is loud, that it means yelling, reacting, proving your point. But that's not strength. That's being impulsive. That's letting your emotions lead. Real strength is quiet. It's the ability to pause before you respond. It's the power to breathe instead of explode. It's the decision to take control of your thoughts when everything around you is trying to shake you. There's always going to be something you can blame: the economy, your job, your parents, your partner, the weather, the pressure, the past. But none of those things are responsible for your choices. You are. And once you really accept that, your life starts to change. You stop feeling like a victim. You stop waiting for things to be easy. You stop letting your emotions ruin your progress. Because here's the reality: emotions aren't bad. They're human. But they become dangerous when you let them drive the car, when you act on anger instead of processing it, when you shut down instead of speaking calmly, when you throw away a good opportunity because you couldn't control a bad reaction. That's how people stay stuck, not because of the situation, but because of how they handled it. You need to train yourself to pause, to not react immediately, to stop and ask yourself, is this reaction helping me or hurting me? That 1 second of pause can save you from days of regret. It can save relationships. It can protect your reputation. It can keep your goals on track. That pause is where your power lives. You know what's powerful? Walking away instead of yelling back, saying nothing instead of saying something you'll regret, taking a deep breath and deciding to respond with logic, not emotion. That's maturity. That's real growth. And that's not something people are born with. It's built through discipline, through practice, through choosing a better reaction over and over until it becomes your normal. When something triggers you, pause. When someone insults you, pause. When plans fall apart, pause. When you feel like quitting, pause. You don't have to respond instantly. You don't have to react on emotion. You're not a machine. You're not a slave to the situation. You have control. Use it. Start observing yourself more closely. When you get upset, ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Is it fear? Is it disappointment? Is it insecurity? Learn how to name it, because once you name it, you stop being owned by it. You create space between the feeling and the reaction. That space is everything. It's where smart decisions are made. Most people don't live in that space. They react fast. They speak without thinking. They lash out. They break things. They hurt people. And then they spend days trying to clean up the mess. Not because they're bad people, but because they never trained their emotions. They never learned how to slow down. And if you don't learn how to slow down, life will keep putting you in the same situations until you finally do. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. You need to care more about your future than your temporary feelings. You need to value peace more than being right. You need to see every reaction as a choice, because it is. And this doesn't mean letting people walk over you. It means choosing power over chaos. It means holding yourself to a standard where you don't lose control because someone else did. If someone disrespects you, that's on them. If you lose your character reacting to it, that's on you. Don't lose your character. Don't let someone else's weakness become your excuse for a weak moment. Your life will never be without stress, without pain, without tests. But you get to decide what those things turn you into. Do they turn you bitter, angry, impulsive, or do they turn you focused, calm, and sharp? That's your decision. And your future depends on that decision more than anything else. Every day, life will test you. People will push your buttons. Situations will go sideways. But you can't let your emotions lead you away from who you're trying to become. Every time you control your reaction, you get stronger. Every time you stay calm, you build self-respect. Every time you choose patience over panic, you build emotional wealth. That's what this is really about. Emotional wealth. Having control over your inner world so the outer world doesn't destroy you. So you can keep building, keep growing, keep making moves, even when life throws you problems. That's what separates those who thrive from those who stay stuck. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's emotional discipline. And it's not built in a day. It's built in moments. In the moments when you feel heat in your chest, tension in your jaw, frustration in your gut, and you choose not to act on it. You choose to slow down. You choose to breathe. You choose to respond like the person you want to become, not the person you've been. Control your reactions, and you stop living in survival mode. You stop getting derailed by every bad day. You stop being controlled by what you can't control. And suddenly, your life starts to feel lighter, clearer, more stable, because you've taken back the driver's seat. This year, make it your mission to respond with purpose, not emotion. Speak with intention, not impulse. Move with clarity, not chaos. That doesn't just change your day, it changes your entire direction. You deserve to feel in control, not just of your schedule, but of your state, of your emotions, of your presence. And it starts with one powerful choice. Stop blaming the situation and start owning your reaction. That's how strength is built, that's how peace is earned, and that's how you level up from the inside out. Number 5, keep your plans private until they actually happen. Sometimes the biggest mistake isn't in what you do, it's in what you say too soon. Most people feel the need to talk about their goals the moment they think of them. They post about it, tell their friends, announce their plans, and start sharing things that haven't even taken shape yet. It feels good in the moment, like progress, like motivation. But in reality, it's doing more harm than good. One of the smartest moves you can make in 2025 is to keep your plans private until they actually happen. Because every time you speak about something before it's real, you open it up to noise. You invite opinions, doubts, distractions, and energy that can easily shift your direction. You give people access to something that's not ready to be touched yet. Some goals are too new to be shared. They need space, they need silence, they need time to grow without outside pressure. When you talk too early, you create false confidence. You start to feel like you've already achieved something just because you said it out loud. But talking is not doing. Saying you'll change is not the same as changing. Telling people your plan isn't the same as building it. And that gap between talking and doing is where most people get stuck. They feel accomplished from the attention they get for sharing the plan, and then they lose the urgency to follow through. You have to protect your momentum. When your energy is high, when your vision is fresh, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You need to stay focused. Stay quiet. Use that energy to work, not to impress. Don't waste the fuel of your excitement trying to convince people of what you're about to do. Just do it. Keeping things to yourself doesn't mean you're being secretive. It means you're being smart. You're being strategic. You understand that not everyone needs to know what's going on in your mind. Not every goal needs to be announced. Not every dream needs a round of applause before it begins. Some things grow best in silence. Some progress is more powerful when it speaks for itself. When you start talking about your plans too soon, you also risk inviting doubt into your process. People will question you, not because they want you to fail, but because they don't see what you see. They haven't felt what you've felt. They don't understand your drive, your reasons, your timing. And if you're not strong enough in your belief, those doubts will seep in. You'll start to rethink. You'll start to shrink. And slowly, your clear vision will get cloudy. Silence protects clarity. It gives you space to make mistakes without judgment. It gives you room to adjust without explanation. It gives you freedom to fail privately, recover quickly, and move again without being watched. That kind of space is rare in today's world, where everyone feels the pressure to share every detail of their lives. But it's necessary if you want to move with power and peace. Look around, the people who really make things happen, the ones who actually finish what they start. They don't spend all their time talking about what they're going to do. They're busy doing it. Their success shows up in their results, not their posts. You don't hear much from them during the building phase. But when they're done, you can't ignore what they've built. That's the level you should aim for. The level where your actions speak so loudly, you don't need to say a word. It's also about self-respect. When you keep your goals to yourself, you're telling yourself, I don't need approval, I don't need praise, I don't need anyone else to validate this path I'm choosing. That builds real confidence, the kind that lasts. Because it wasn't built on applause, it was built on discipline. You become less influenced by trends and opinions and more grounded in your own values. When you keep your plans private, you also create accountability with yourself. There's no one to impress. There's no image to maintain. It's just you and the promise you made to yourself. That's when you really find out how serious you are. Are you willing to show up without being seen? Are you disciplined enough to keep building without external motivation? Are you focused enough to keep going even when no one claps? If the answer is yes, you're on the right path. Because success isn't built on noise, it's built on quiet, consistent action. It's built in the early mornings and late nights when no one's watching. It's built in the hours of effort that never make it to social media. And when the results come, they'll be undeniable. Privacy also helps you protect your energy. The fewer people involved in your plans, the fewer distractions you have. You don't have to manage their reactions, their feedback, their questions. You just focus. You stay in your zone. You make progress on your terms. That mental space is valuable. Don't trade it for temporary attention. In 2025, give yourself that gift. The gift of moving in silence. The gift of working in peace. The gift of not needing to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to post every win. You don't need to announce every step. You don't need to explain your process. Just let your progress do the talking. And when it's done, when the result is real, when the change is visible, when the goal is achieved, people will notice. You won't have to say a thing. They'll see the difference. They'll feel the shift. And it'll mean more because it came from action, not announcements. So if you're working on something right now, keep it close, protect it, build it. Don't worry about what people think or say. You're not building it for their approval. You're building it because it matters to you. And that's enough. Let your silence be strength. Let your privacy be power. Let your discipline speak louder than your words ever could. This year, make your progress louder than your promises. Move without noise, grow without updates, and watch what happens when you stop explaining and start delivering. That's how you take control. That's how you rise. That's how you win. Number 6, work on yourself quietly when nobody supports you. There will be moments in your life where you feel completely alone, not because you're isolated physically, but because nobody understands what you're doing or why you're doing it. You'll look around and notice the silence. Nobody checks on your progress. Nobody cheers you on. Nobody tells you to keep going. And in that silence, you'll have to decide if you still believe in what you're building. That's the test most people fail. They wait for support, they wait for someone to care. But the truth is, if you're serious about changing your life, you have to learn how to work on yourself quietly when nobody supports you. It's one thing to stay motivated when you're surrounded by people who inspire you. It's easy to show up when someone's watching. It's easy to stay on track when someone's pushing you. But real discipline shows up when the room is empty. When no one asks how you're doing, when nobody sends you a message of encouragement, when no one claps, checks in, or notices, that's when your real strength gets tested. And that's where most people quit. Not because they don't have talent, but because they can't handle the silence. The silence is where you grow. When you wake up before the world, when you work hard with no one watching, when you study, train, build, and keep moving without recognition, that's where self-respect is built. That's where pride comes from. Quiet growth is the strongest kind of growth because it's not performed for anyone else. It's not done for attention. It's done because you made a promise to yourself, and that promise means something to you. When you look around and feel like no one is supporting you, it's tempting to stop. It's tempting to slow down. It's tempting to think maybe you're not doing enough. But the truth is, most people won't understand your journey until it's finished. They won't see your vision the way you do. They won't get your routine. They won't understand why you say no to distractions, why you cut out noise, why you work when everyone else is resting. That's okay. They're not supposed to understand. It's not their job to support you. It's your job to show up anyway. One of the most important decisions you'll ever make is to be your own support system, to stop needing approval, to stop needing permission, to stop looking around and start looking within. That's when you become unstoppable, because then it doesn't matter who's watching. It doesn't matter who left. It doesn't matter who doubted you. You're no longer controlled by the presence or absence of support. You've built something deeper. You've built inner strength. This is the reality most people don't want to face. The beginning of every journey feels lonely. It's quiet. It's uncomfortable. You question yourself. You feel invisible. You feel like maybe it doesn't matter. But that's exactly why it matters. Because if you can work through those moments, if you can keep showing up when no one's there to cheer you on, you'll build a kind of focus and power that no one can take from you. Don't wait for a crowd to believe in your potential. Don't expect people to understand your discipline if they've never practiced it themselves. Some people will fall away, some won't care, some will misunderstand your silence as arrogance or your growth as distance, but none of that matters. What matters is whether or not you're keeping your word to yourself when it's just you and the work. Some days you'll feel like nobody sees the effort. Nobody sees the early mornings, the late nights, the internal battles, the little wins, the self-control, the quiet choices you make every day. And that's true. Most people won't see any of that, but you will. You'll feel it, and over time, that invisible work will build visible results. Stay focused on becoming who you said you would be, even if nobody claps, even if nobody notices. Keep going, because every time you show up in silence, you're proving to yourself that you don't need attention to grow. You don't need validation to improve. You don't need company to succeed. You need a reason. You need a standard, and you need to remember why you started. There's power in learning how to motivate yourself, in building a routine that doesn't collapse when nobody's around. That's where real growth happens. And eventually, people will see the difference. They'll ask how you did it. They'll wonder when it changed. But by then, you'll be too focused on the next level to look back. Because once you've learned how to rely on yourself, your entire mindset shifts. You don't chase approval. You don't beg for support. You create your own energy. You manage your own discipline. And that's when you finally feel in control of your life. There will be days you feel invisible. Let that build your character. There will be days when nothing feels like it's working. Let that test your commitment. There will be days when you want to quit because no one seems to care. Let that remind you why you started in the first place. Growth isn't supposed to feel glamorous. It's supposed to feel challenging, isolating, quiet. But that's where your future is being built. Not in front of the camera, not on social media, not in front of a crowd, but behind the scenes, in the silence, in the decisions no one sees. In the moments where you choose discipline, even when it feels pointless, keep working, keep building, keep showing up. Not for them, for you. Because one day that silent discipline will become obvious, that quiet work will become loud results, and the people who once didn't notice will have no choice but to see it. But by then you won't need their support, because you'll already be standing on the foundation you built when nobody was watching. And that's the kind of strength that lasts. Number 7. Break your screen addiction before it breaks your drive. There's a silent trap that most people are walking into without even noticing. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't hurt at first. In fact, it feels comfortable. It feels entertaining. It feels normal. But over time, it slowly takes away your attention, your energy, your motivation, and your focus. That trap is screen addiction. And if you don't break it now, it will quietly break your drive to build the life you want. Every time you reach for your phone without thinking, every time you open an app just to escape a moment of boredom, every time you scroll for hours and call it rest, you're not just wasting time, you're training your brain to avoid effort. You're teaching yourself to trade purpose for distraction. It's not just about the hours lost. It's about the habits you're reinforcing. You pick up your phone thinking you'll check one thing. 10 minutes later, you're watching videos you didn't plan to see, reading posts you didn't need, thinking about things that don't help your life in any way. That kind of distraction doesn't just take your time. It reshapes how your brain works. You start needing fast entertainment. You start getting bored quickly. You lose patience for the kind of deep focus that real success requires. You weren't born with this problem. It didn't just appear. It was built one moment at a time. You felt tired, so you opened a screen. You felt anxious, so you watched a video. You didn't know what to do next, so you checked your feed. And now, without meaning to, your first reaction to stress or boredom is distraction. And that's dangerous, because your goals don't live in distraction. They live in focus. They live in effort. They live in long stretches of work without interruption. If you can't sit with your own thoughts for 10 minutes, how are you going to build something meaningful for 10 years? It's not just the time spent online that hurts. It's what you're not doing during that time. You're not reading. You're not learning. You're not working on your body, your business, your relationships, or your character. You're standing still, pretending to be busy. And you feel tired at the end of the day, not because you worked, but because your brain was constantly reacting. You have to take this seriously, because your screen is not neutral. It's not passive. It's designed to pull you in, to keep you there, to feed you things that trigger emotion, that grab your attention, that convince you to stay longer. And the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to leave. You might not even realize how often you reach for it. You might not notice how many times you interrupt your own thinking just to check something. But it adds up. Every interruption costs you focus. And the more often you interrupt yourself, the harder it becomes to finish anything that requires real effort. You've probably told yourself, I'll just check for a minute. But that minute turns into 30. That 30 turns into guilt. And then you tell yourself you'll do better tomorrow. But tomorrow doesn't come, because habits don't break on their own. You have to fight them. You have to replace them with new ones. Start with one change. Remove the apps you know are wasting your time, not because you hate them, but because they're hurting you. Turn off every notification that doesn't serve your future. Put your phone in another room when you need to focus. Make boredom your friend again. Learn how to sit with silence. Learn how to use a pen and paper again. Learn how to think deeply without needing a screen to guide your thoughts. This isn't about hating technology. It's about using it instead of letting it use you. It's about being the one in control of your attention. Because if you lose your attention, you lose your life. You lose the power to choose what you care about, what you think about, what you work on. You become reactive instead of intentional. There's a reason you feel foggy. There's a reason you can't stick with your goals. There's a reason you feel tired without doing real work. Your brain is overwhelmed. It's overstimulated. It's not getting the rest it needs. Because even your downtime is full of input. You're never just present. You're always plugged in, always watching, always scrolling. You need to build new habits, real ones that rebuild your attention, ones that give you your time back. Start small, but start now. Give yourself 1 hour every morning without screens. No checking, no scrolling, no reacting. Use that hour to think, plan, move, or read. You'll feel different, sharper, stronger. You'll notice how much time you were wasting. You'll feel the peace that comes from taking control again. At night, put your phone away 1 hour before sleep. Let your brain calm down. Let yourself process the day. Your sleep will improve. Your stress will go down. Your thoughts will start to feel clear again. And during the day, be honest. If you pick up your phone, ask yourself why. Are you doing it out of boredom, out of habit, out of discomfort? Face the reason. Don't hide from it. Because the more honest you get with yourself, the faster you can take your power back. Most people won't do this. Most people will stay stuck. They'll keep reaching for the screen because it's easy, comfortable, and addictive. They'll keep saying they're too busy to grow, too tired to focus, too overwhelmed to change, not realizing their screen habits are creating all of that. You don't have to be. Most people. You can take the hard road, the road that feels uncomfortable at first but frees you in the long run. The road that asks for discipline now and gives you clarity later. The road that leads back to your full attention. Your drive is fragile. If you let it be drained by constant distraction, you'll never feel motivated enough to move. You'll wait around for energy that isn't coming. You'll keep losing days, weeks, and months to screens that gave you nothing in return. Break the addiction now, while you still can, while it's still a habit, not a permanent condition, while your mind is still able to change. Don't wait for a breakdown. Don't wait until you lose your purpose. Don't wait until your dreams feel too far away to chase. This year is about choosing attention over distraction. It's about building a mind that works for you, not against you. It's about being strong enough to face the silence, to face your thoughts, and to start building your life with intention again. Because if you don't protect your drive, no one will do it for you. And if you keep feeding your distractions, your focus will starve. Choose better. Choose discipline. Choose your future before the screen takes it away from you completely. Number 8. Say exactly what you feel without fear today. There's a version of you that's tired of hiding, tired of holding back words you needed to say, tired of staying quiet just to keep the peace, tired of nodding when you wanted to speak up. That version of you is honest, real, and clear. It doesn't want to pretend anymore. And in 2025, you owe it to yourself to become that version fully. Not someday, not later, but now, today. You need to say exactly what you feel without fear. Every time you silence yourself to avoid discomfort, you lose a little piece of yourself. You might think you're keeping things calm, staying polite, or avoiding conflict. But deep down, you're creating a pattern. A habit of shrinking, of burying your truth, of living for other people's approval. And eventually that silence doesn't just stay in conversations, it spreads into your decisions, your identity, and your self-worth. You start to second-guess yourself. You start to wonder if your feelings are too much, if your standards are too high, if your needs are valid. And when that starts, you disconnect from your own voice. You become careful, hesitant, reserved. You trade honesty for comfort. You trade peace of mind for other people's acceptance. But here's the truth. No one is coming to rescue your voice. No one is going to magically understand what you feel if you keep hiding it. No one can fight for what matters to you better than you can. If something hurts, say it. If something feels wrong, speak up. If you're not okay, admit it. If you need space, ask for it. If someone's crossed a line, let them know. That's not weakness. That's not drama. That's self-respect. You have to stop thinking that being quiet means being strong, that silence is noble, that speaking up is selfish. That's how people stay trapped in unhappy situations. They believe that being agreeable is more important than being real. But if you're constantly agreeing to things that don't feel right, you're not living in peace. You're living in fear. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to argue. You just have to be honest, clear, direct, unapologetic. That kind of communication will feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've spent years watering yourself down. But discomfort is not a reason to stay silent. Discomfort is a sign you're breaking through the old version of you, the one who thought pleasing people was more important than honoring yourself. Think about how many times you walked away from a conversation wishing you said what was really on your mind. Think about the tension you carry from the words you never spoke. That pressure builds. It shows up as stress, anxiety, resentment, overthinking, and none of that goes away until you start speaking with honesty again. Your peace lives in your truth. You don't get clarity from silence. You don't build respect by staying invisible. You build it by standing firm in what you feel, what you need, and what you believe. And if people can't handle that, let them walk. If someone only likes you when you're silent, they don't like you. They like your silence. You deserve relationships where you can say what's on your heart without walking on eggshells. You deserve environments where honesty is welcomed, not punished. And the only way to find that is by being that version of yourself first. When you speak up, you stop attracting people who need you to stay small. You start attracting people who respect your voice. Fear of rejection keeps most people quiet. They fear being misunderstood, judged, or dismissed. But ask yourself this: are you willing to betray yourself just to avoid being misunderstood by someone who was never trying to understand you in the first place? The people who matter will value your honesty, not resent it. The right people will listen, not shame you for speaking up, and the ones who can't handle your truth were never meant to stay. You don't need a crowd to agree with you. You need to stop disagreeing with yourself just to make things easier. The more you say what you feel, the stronger your inner world becomes. You become rooted. You don't sway with other people's opinions. You don't depend on others to tell you what's right. You already know what's right for you. It's time to stop holding in the truth just because it makes other people uncomfortable. Your honesty might shake things up. It might change dynamics. It might lead to hard conversations. But you know what's harder? Living a life where you're always silent, always agreeable, always waiting for a safe moment to be real. There's no perfect time to speak your truth. There's just now. And the longer you wait, the heavier it gets. One honest sentence can free you more than 100 silent ones ever will. One clear boundary can give you more peace than years of quiet resentment. One moment of courage can change everything. Start small if you need to. Tell someone how their words made you feel. Ask for what you need without apologizing. Say no without justifying it. Speak about your goals without downplaying them. Be direct about your values without feeling guilty. Every honest word is a step back to your real self. And don't just speak, listen to yourself. When your gut says something feels wrong, don't ignore it. When your chest feels tight after a conversation, don't brush it off. When your voice shakes because you're finally being honest, don't let that scare you. That shaking means growth. That means you're stepping into the strength you've been avoiding. The truth is, most people respect you more when you stop being fake with them. They may not say it, they may not like it, but deep down they'll know you're someone who stands for something, someone who's not afraid to be real, someone who doesn't wait for permission to be honest. And if they walk away, let them. You never needed to stay quiet just to keep someone close. You never needed to dim your truth just to avoid discomfort. You're not here to be agreeable. You're here to be authentic. You're not here to fit in. You're here to live free. So say it. Say what you really feel. Not tomorrow, not when it's safe. Today. Because every day you stay quiet, you're teaching yourself that your truth doesn't matter. And that's a lie. Your truth matters. Your voice matters. Your honesty is not a threat, it's a gift. And the world needs more of it. More people willing to speak without fear. More people willing to live without pretending. More people willing to stop hiding and finally show up as they are. Start with yourself. Speak honestly to the mirror. Then speak honestly to the world. That's how real change begins. One brave word at a time. Number 9. Pick one thing and give it everything you've got. Most people stay stuck, not because they lack potential, but because they keep starting and stopping. They keep jumping from one thing to the next, hoping something will click fast, something will blow up quickly, something will change their life without demanding full effort. But nothing great happens like that. If you want to change your life in 2025, stop spreading yourself thin. Pick one thing and give it everything you've got. When your attention is divided, your results are weak. Every time you chase 5 different things, you're giving 20% to each and then wondering why nothing works, nothing sticks, nothing moves forward. It's not because you're not capable. It's because you're not locked in. Real results come from deep focus, from full commitment, from choosing one direction and deciding you're not leaving until you break through. This isn't about giving up on your other ideas. It's about knowing the difference between curiosity and commitment. Curiosity is browsing. Commitment is building. You can be curious about many things, but you can only master one thing at a time. If you try to master everything, you'll end up mastering nothing. And that's the trap most people fall into. They try to do too much too fast with half the effort, and they burn out with nothing to show for it. One focus changes everything. One decision, when followed with full effort, can open doors that scattered effort never will. The moment you stop switching plans every time it gets hard, that's when your life starts to shift. That's when you become dangerous. Not because you're smarter than everyone, not because you know more, but because you're finally consistent. And consistency beats talent when talent can't stay focused. Ask yourself this honestly. What's the one thing you've been avoiding giving your full energy to? What's the one thing that scares you because you know it could actually work if you stopped holding back? That's probably the thing you need to lock in on this year. That's where your growth lives. Not in doing more, but in going deeper. Not in trying everything, but in giving your full heart to one thing that matters. You can't build strength if you keep hitting the reset button. You can't find clarity if you keep distracting yourself with new plans. You can't win if you keep quitting every time progress slows down. You have to learn how to stay, how to dig in, how to give yourself a real chance to succeed. And that starts by deciding to go all in on one thing. It might be uncomfortable. You'll feel tempted to walk away when things don't move fast. You'll doubt your choice when you see other people doing different things. But this is where you grow, not in chasing options, but in building roots. Because when you stick with something long enough, you begin to understand it. You see results others don't. You develop a deeper skill, a deeper mindset, a deeper trust in yourself. This is about identity. When you choose one thing and go all in, you're sending a clear message to yourself that you're done with halfway living, that you're no longer willing to treat your potential like a side hobby, that you're done waiting for perfect conditions, that you're ready to build something real, and real things take full attention. Pick one business, one mission, one body transformation, one personal project, one area of your life that's been asking for your full energy. And decide, not I'll try, not I'll see what happens. Decide. Say to yourself, this is where I'm going, and I'm not stopping until I get there. Once you make that decision, everything gets clearer. You stop wasting energy on distractions. You stop asking for advice from people who don't get it. You stop needing constant motivation because you're no longer starting over every few weeks. You finally feel aligned, and alignment brings power. That power comes from momentum. The more you show up for that one thing, the more progress you see. And with each win, no matter how small, your confidence builds. You stop wondering if it's possible. You start knowing it is because you're seeing it happen through your own actions. But here's what's important. You have to give it everything. Not 50%, not 80%, not just enough. Everything. Wake up for it. Plan around it. Prioritize it. Study it. Get obsessed with getting better at it. Because that's what it takes to win. Not magic. Not luck. Full focus. Unshakable effort. Real discipline. Most people won't do this. Most people will stay average, not because they're not smart, but because they're not consistent. They give up their focus for temporary pleasure. They bounce around trying to find shortcuts. They envy others' results without committing to the work that creates those results. But you don't have to be most people. You can decide right now that this year is different, that this time you're going to lock in, you're going to simplify, you're going to stop running from depth and finally go all in. Will it be hard? Yes. Will you get tired? Absolutely. Will doubt show up? Of course. But you'll keep going, not because it's easy, but because you're finally tired of repeating the same cycle. You've tried halfway, and you know where that leads. It's time to try fully invested, fully present, fully committed. Because when you give everything, life gives back. Not instantly, but eventually. And when it does, it's not just about the results. It's about who you became along the way. Someone who finishes, someone who pushes, someone who doesn't run when it gets hard. That kind of person is unstoppable. That kind of person builds things that last. So if you're waiting for a sign to stop dabbling, this is it. Pick your one thing, commit to it, block out the noise, burn the excuses, and give it everything you've got. Because once you do, you'll look back and realize this was the year everything changed. Not because of luck, not because of opportunity, but because you finally made a decision and never looked back. Number 10, let go of people who ignore your growth. There's a moment in your life when you realize you're changing, and not everyone around you is ready to see it. You start waking up earlier, setting higher standards, saying no more often, choosing better habits, thinking clearer, and aiming for more. You feel yourself outgrowing old ways, old conversations, old patterns. But what hurts the most isn't the process of growth. It's realizing that some people close to you aren't acknowledging it. They're not clapping for your progress. They're not respecting your boundaries. They're not treating your growth like it matters. And if you're going to move forward in 2025, you need to let go of people who ignore your growth. You can't keep shrinking yourself to stay in the same rooms. You can't keep playing small just to keep the peace. You can't keep allowing people to stay close if they act like the version of you that's growing doesn't exist. Because what you tolerate becomes your standard. And if you keep surrounding yourself with people who treat your improvement like an inconvenience, you'll start to question if it's even worth it. It is worth it. But not everyone will get it. Not everyone will cheer. Not everyone will understand why you're changing your schedule, why you're spending time differently, why your priorities have shifted. That's okay. Understanding isn't the requirement. Respect is. And if someone can't respect that you're growing, they don't need access to your space anymore. You can't afford to keep people close who only liked the old version of you. The one who had no boundaries. The one who said yes to everything. The one who laughed at things you now find draining. The one who never challenged the dynamic. That version of you is gone. And anyone trying to hold you to that version is holding you back. Growth is uncomfortable, and not just for you. It's uncomfortable for the people who have to watch it. It challenges them. It confronts them. It makes them look at their own choices, and sometimes they'd rather ignore your progress than face their own lack of effort. That's not your burden to carry. You don't need to dim your light to protect their comfort. You need to keep growing, whether they see it or not. Letting go doesn't always mean cutting someone off with drama. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just space. Less access, less energy, less explaining. You start giving your full presence to people who actually see you, who notice your changes, who ask you how it's going, who treat your growth with respect, not resistance. You know who's good for you by how you feel after being around them. If you leave a conversation questioning your direction, if you constantly have to defend your decisions, if your wins are ignored or minimized, pay attention. That's not healthy. That's not support. That's subtle resistance. And it adds up. It wears you down. It makes you second-guess things you were sure about 5 minutes ago. Real support doesn't always look like praise. Sometimes it's just someone staying consistent with you. Someone who adjusts as you grow. Someone who doesn't make you feel guilty for evolving. And that kind of energy is rare. So when you find it, protect it. And when you don't, walk away. You are not responsible for how others feel about your growth. You're responsible for staying true to the path you're on. You're responsible for protecting your mental and emotional space. You're responsible for setting standards and sticking to them, even if it makes people uncomfortable. You have to get used to the idea that not everyone will come with you. Some people were only meant to be part of your journey for a season, and when that season ends, forcing them to stay only delays your progress. Don't confuse history with alignment. Just because someone's been around for a long time doesn't mean they're right for who you are now. You're allowed to evolve, you're allowed to change the rules, you're allowed to outgrow dynamics that no longer feel fair, you're allowed to choose peace over loyalty to people who've stopped showing up for the version of you that's actually trying. You're not being selfish, you're being honest. And yes, it's going to feel heavy at first, you might feel guilty, you might doubt yourself, but you need to remember this: holding on to people who drain you is more painful than the short-term discomfort of letting them go. You'll breathe easier once you stop trying to prove your worth to people who refuse to see it. Letting go is part of growth. It's how you create space for new people. People who understand your mindset. People who want to see you win. People who are growing too. But you can't attract that if your life is still filled with people who don't respect the level you're reaching for. You need to protect your environment the same way you protect your time, because your environment is shaping you daily. If your growth is surrounded by people who ignore it, criticize it, or act like it's a phase, that weight will keep you stuck. That quiet resistance will eat at your energy, and you'll find yourself shrinking just to keep relationships alive that should have ended long ago. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to explain. You just have to move differently, respond slower, stop oversharing, pull your energy back. And when people ask why you're distant, tell the truth. You're protecting your growth. You're making room for alignment. You're choosing peace. And once you do that, something changes. You stop apologizing for evolving. You stop trying to convince people to understand. You stop needing everyone to clap. You start showing up with full energy in places that match your level. You start building momentum that's no longer interrupted by emotional noise. And you finally feel what it's like to grow without resistance. This year, stop giving energy to people who don't care that you're improving. Stop seeking validation from people who never took your effort seriously. Stop inviting people into your space who didn't notice when you started becoming a better version of yourself. Let them go. Because you can't carry dead weight and still run fast. You can't grow in an environment that treats your progress like a problem. You can't keep reaching new levels while staying loyal to people who've already decided they're not growing with you. This isn't about being cold, it's about being clear. If they ignore your growth, they don't belong in your future. Let them go and keep going. If you've made it this far, you already know what needs to change. These 10 goals aren't just ideas, they're instructions. They're the difference between another year of excuses and a year of action. The choice is yours now. Start small, stay consistent, and don't wait for perfect conditions. You don't need more time, you need more intention. Set these goals, commit to them fully, and watch what happens when your actions finally match your potential. 2025 is your year, but only if you make it your responsibility. Now go earn the results your future self will thank you for.